Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Shawana Tucker, Chief Talent Officer here at the Connecticut State Department of Education. I thank you for joining us for this afternoon's webinar. As a reminder, and before we get started, this webinar is being recorded. It will be posted on the Talent Department's website for anyone who wishes to review it at a later date, or if you have staff that you would like to share this information with. Let us begin. As you are aware, the Talent Office has been and continues to work on the diversification of our educator pipeline here in Connecticut. This work is aligned with our State Board of Education strategic plan, and we've made many strides through the years as we focus on recruitment and retention of educators of color. This year's legislative session yielded us financial resources to enhance and expand our work in this area. We've launched several new initiatives that support your work in diversification, which include Educators Rising mini grants to districts to establish Grow Your Own programs at the middle and high school levels, and most recently, our Aspiring Diverse Educator Scholarship for students of color majoring in education with scholarship awards in the amount of $10,000 annually for a total of $40,000 over a 4-year period. Along with these initiatives, we've been tasked with ensuring that districts will adhere to PA Public Act 23-167, Section 10. This act requires each local and regional board of education to submit an increasing educator diversity plan to the CSDE no later than March 15, 2024. We know many of you have been engaged in this work for years and have utilized resources that we've provided the past few. To assist us with this task, we've partnered with our colleagues from the Region 2 Comprehensive Center to assist us in meeting this requirement and providing you with resources to assist in the process. This informational webinar will focus on expectations of this new requirement and resources and guidance we can provide to you in your plan development. While this initiative is housed in the Talent Office, there are several colleagues at the Department of Education who have and are working with us on this rollout plan. They will each introduce themselves. However, at this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you the Deputy Commissioner of Educational Supports and Wellness, Cynthia Sone Moyano, who will bring greetings. Cynthia.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. Today, I'm Cynthia Sone Moyano, Deputy Commissioner of Educational Supports and Wellness. Looking forward to today's webinar and all the information that we're going to share out. Not only because it's an informational session, but because of the importance of this work that we have taken on as a state and really diversifying our workforce. So looking forward to this afternoon and this time spent together. Can we go to the next slide? Okay, so you may ask yourself why increasing educator diversity matters. As many of you know, this work has been going on for many, many years, but just recently, our legislation just passed this past session mandate that requires these educational plans. In many cases, many of us, myself included, have been working with a sense of urgency when it comes to diversifying the staff. We didn't need research to tell us that this was important work. We just all saw the disconnect that we had in our school systems between the growing and changing demographics of our students and the rate of disparity between the racial composition of our teachers. So some of us in our works with these plans or in our districts, we're already doing this work that the legislation has now said, or legislators, this has to be done and it's a requirement. The reason for that is because it's important. It benefits all students. I'm going to give you a few minutes to take a look at the blurb here that's on the slide. Take a few minutes to read it. Okay, some key points that really resonated with me, as I indicated before, is that all students benefit from a talent of teachers from a diverse background, race, and ethnicity group. And it's not just our students of color, but also our white students benefit. And we are excited to continuously embark in this work and to support you through this work because we understand that it's important. Thank you. Okay, the next slide that you see here is right from our Ed site. Many of you utilize our Ed site to gather information about your districts, about other districts, but our Ed site has the Educator Diversity Dashboard. It's really relevant information, literally gets updated on a day-to-day basis. So you at the district level update your data and it comes right to our data dashboard. But this data here is pretty compelling. It provides you a visual representation of the need of this ongoing work. While there is persuasive research that students, as I indicated before, of color greatly benefit from educators of color, the case is there. Our districts continue to do this work. However, as you know, across the state, we're only at 11% representation of teachers of color. And so we know that more work needs to be done, and it's got to be done in an intentional manner. And it's not just HR's work, it's every leader's work across the district. And so I'm hoping that some of you already utilize the Ed site to gather your information, not just in regards to your students, but also of your workforce, and use it as a data point, as a resource to really help you plan in how you intentionally go about recruiting the most diverse staff, but also retaining your staff, as that work is very important. So, as to the call of action that legislators have set forth, is that of diversifying and strengthening Connecticut educators' workforce to ensure that all students have racially, ethnically, and linguistically diverse teachers and leaders who can provide them with a high quality education. Because at the end of the day, that is what we're looking for, high quality education. Another pertinent information that I want to bring forward, most of you already know, but PA 23-167, Section 9, really outlines also the change in the language of the plan, from calling it a plan for minority educator recruitment to increasing educator diversity plan. And the word minority refers to less than, subordinate to, smaller than, or different from the group. So it's a commitment that we've made to comprehensive equity indicator, meaning that this work is intentional. It's about the language that we use. It's about the lens that we use in doing this work to promote this work. We all carry many biases that we bring to the forefront of our work, and we just have to be cognizant of that, that it is a privilege to work with a diverse workforce, and that as a state, we've set this forward and we're moving forward with this plan. And our work here at the state is to help and support already what you've started in most of your district, because I know this work is being done. I know I did it at the district level. And so we are here to support your efforts in achieving the goals of truly diversifying the workforce through the lens of equity. Next slide. Okay, so moving on. Next presenter.
I think good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mike McKeon. I'm the Director of Legal and Governmental Affairs for the State Department of Education. I apologize for my voice, but I've got a cold or something. I think we might have skipped a slide. I think we need to go back to slide 6. Thank you. As set forth here on this slide, Public Act 23-167, Section 10, sets forth certain requirements that were somewhat already legislatively prescribed, but takes it a step further. By that I mean that section 10-220, subsection A of the Connecticut General Statutes, that's the statute that really sets forth the responsibility of local and regional boards of education. And one of those obligations for school boards was to have a educator diversity plan. What the Public Act does, well, it does a couple of things. Number one, it does change, not just in the context of this requirement, but also in a more of a widespread manner. It did, as just noted, change the commonly used word. By commonly, I mean in the prior legislation, minority to diverse. The definition, the substance of the definition traces back to the Census Bureau of all things for the Federal Office Management and Budget. So substantively, the definitions are the same, but this language, as indicated, really reflects far better the equitable nature that underscores this legislative enactment. As you can see, now under Public Act 23-167, Section 10, local and regional boards are not just required to come up with such a plan, but they have to submit it to the State Department of Education. Specifically, they have to submit it to the commissioner. So this is taking it really one step beyond the local, kind of the local ambit of the boards of education, but also brings it up to the state level. And really, I think that serves a couple of functions. One, it ensures that it's appropriate. Not to suggest that local and regional boards were not implementing appropriate plans, but nonetheless, the legislature wanted that confirmed. So they want to bring it up to the State Department of Education. The Public Act gives the commissioner the opportunity to review it and to approve it, or in the other instance, to send it back to the district and say, I think this needs a little tweaking. Just work on this a little bit, and let's see how it looks once you've done that. It's hopeful that this will bring some uniformity to these plans across the state. Obviously, different districts have different situations, but nonetheless, the underlying purpose should be the same. Also, this Public Act brings more transparency to it. As you can see, it requires that these plans be on the local board's websites, but also on the CSDE's website. So once they're all in, they've been approved, we will be posting them on the CSDE website so that someone can come to us as kind of one ready source to determine what is the diversity increasing educator diversity plan for their particular district. Next slide, please. Sorry about that. It's interesting. The Public Act just refers to local and regional board of education. So there are a lot of different educational entities in the state of Connecticut. And reading this just at face value, someone might say, oh, well, it doesn't apply to us. We're a RESC. We're the technical education career system. We're a charter school. We're an endowed high school or academy. But when reading statutes, one has to be aware of pre-existing statutes. And there's a pretty standard tenet of statutory construction. I don't want to get all legal on you, but in interpreting statutes, it's always the courts always hold that the legislature has to be presumed to have been aware of prior statutes. So here on this statute, we have set forth various statutory sections that are already in the Connecticut General Statutes. And what they do is that they essentially say, well, all the provisions of the general statute that concern education, they also apply, for instance, here, the first statute cited to the CTEX, and also to USD 1, which is the Correctional Department's educational system, and USD 2, which is the DCF's educational system. and it goes on, these different statutes. So when reading local and regional board of education, one has to read it within the context of these other statutes. I mean, this eliminates the legislature having to say every time they come up with a new statute, okay, let me see, we got to put local, we got to put regional school boards, we got to put CTECs, we got to put RESC. You know, that would just get, you know, crazy. So even though it does say only local and regional boards of education, as you can see from this slide and from all the different statutory enactments listed here, that this also applies to essentially every educational entity in the state of Connecticut. Next slide. I will bow out.
Thank you, Mike. Good afternoon. My name is Regina Hopkins. I am an education consultant in the CSDE's Talent Office, and I want to quickly make you aware of 2 resources that are currently available to support your Increasing Educator Diversity Plan creation. The first is the Guidebook for Hiring and Selection. By engaging with the Guidebook for Hiring and Selection, you will be introduced to the language of the work. You will learn how to apply an evidence-based continuous improvement cycle in your development of a hiring and selection plan to increase the diversity of your educator workforce. The guidebook also contains the Brookside story, which illustrates what district and school leaders in a fictitious district thought about and did to support their goal of building a more diverse teacher and administrator workforce. The Brookside story is intended to serve as a case study to help you think proactively about identifying and addressing potential barriers or challenges in the creation and implementation of your Increasing Educator Diversity plans. The guidebook also contains culturally responsive hiring strategies and resources to support your work. The second resource is the toolkit. The toolkit provides guidance for critical pre-planning tasks to help you get started. Those tasks include assembling a team, conducting a root cause analysis, establishing a shared vision, creating a strong theory of action. Secondly, the guidebook provides guidance regarding information to support the development of an action plan, such as goal identification, assignment of roles and responsibilities, strategies and key activities, indicators of progress, resources required, and it also helps you to anticipate risks and plan for mitigation. And finally, the guidance helps to support the establishment of ongoing progress monitoring as you continue to implement and work to sustain the your workforce educator diversity. The toolkit also contains a template that was created for your use, and this slide shows you what that template looks like. It can be found in the toolkit. It is the first page of the appendix of the toolkit.
Good afternoon. I am Dr. Jessica Ocasio, Associate Educational Consultant with the Talent Office for the SDE. We have various technical assistance supports and resources for districts, LEAs, educational agencies, starting with the informational webinars that we held today and prior on October 16th. We do have a virtual technical assistance support session that is going to be taking place on November 16th, 2023 from 2 to 3:30. It will involve the State Department of Education and the R2CC group who will be focusing on providing an overview of increasing educator diversity resources and tools. So going back into those toolkits and resources that Regina explained, and also providing guidance on assembling a strong team to lead the work and to learn about the foundations for developing a strong increasing educator diversity plan. We are going to have a FAQ document available in early November. There is opportunity for participants to enter any questions they may have into our Q&A section of this webinar. And questions from that Q&A will be pulled and placed into the FAQ document. So that way you can always go back and refer to them. Some of those questions, I do see a question in the Q&A. That answer will be provided later in this presentation. There will also be professional learning and technical assistance webinars, again, in November and January. We will have office hours set up. Districts, educational agencies can sign up for any additional support prior to any postings or any webinars or any technical assistance sessions that are available. If you have any questions prior to any of those or in between, you can sign up for office hours. We do have our IED, Increasing Educator Diversity email, which will be shared with you later in this presentation, that you may also submit questions to. All plans are due by March 15th, 2024. Once plans are received, they will be reviewed, feedback will be provided, and anyone that is in need of any revisions, will have a new due date of May 15 to submit their revised Increasing Educator Diversity Plan. We do have lots of links available for you. Obviously, when creating your Increasing Educator Diversity Plan, you need to ensure that you have all the data that's appropriate to your educational agency. So utilizing EdSite, the Educator Diversity Dashboard, to pull in all the data to really get a good glimpse of your specific agency. We also have the LinkedIn guidebook and toolkit that Regina shared with you earlier for you to have direct access to those. They are in PDFs. You can download, print, save, share. So that way you can always refer back to those when you are creating your plans. Within those plans, there are also the template for what you will be using to submit into the state for your diversity plans.
So we are mindful of the fact that even though we wanted to provide you with information regarding the mandates of Public Act 23-167, Section 10, this is not an interactive webinar. Nevertheless, we anticipated, we hope, some of your threshold questions. And so the next few slides will be our effort to kind of address what we anticipate are your top of mind questions. So what if we don't submit a plan or don't submit one on time? Are there consequences or penalties for not submitting or for late submission? The CSDE is not seeking to be punitive, but rather seeking to be proactive. And because the legislation is silent regarding consequences or penalties, if an Increasing Educator Diversity Plan is not submitted as set forth in legislation, then there will be outreach by either Deputy Commissioner Son Moyano or the Chief Talent Officer, Dr. Tucker, regarding the reasons for noncompliance. Question 2, what if we need an extension of time? Will that be permitted? If so, how and to whom should the request be made? Jessica mentioned a few minutes ago that we have established a email address for those of you who may want to submit questions. You can also use that same email address, which is identified here on the slide, to make a request for an extension of time, indicating the reasons for the delay, providing the date by which the anticipated plan will be provided, or a revision if revision was requested. And requests for an extension of time are going to be reviewed by the Deputy Commissioner and the Chief Talent Officer. Next slide, please. Do we have to use the increasing educator diversity plan template in the toolkit to submit a plan? Yes, it will help you to focus your plan. It will help you to focus your efforts and your energies in terms of creating a plan. And that is why it's included as part of the, it's in the toolkit. How will plans be assessed? Plans will not be assessed, they will be reviewed. Our goal is to, again, not to be punitive, but to be proactive and to support you in the ways that we can to allow you to put forward your best effort in terms of submitting a plan to increase educator diversity. For the last 4 years, the CSDE has partnered with the Region 2 Comprehensive Center on efforts to increase Connecticut's educator diversity. The R2CC team was instrumental in developing the toolkit and providing technical assistance for increasing educator diversity coaching series. There were a number of districts throughout the state that have taken part in the coaching series. And so our plan is to have CSDE and R2CC staff review the plans. What instrument or rubric will be used in plan review? A rubric is currently being developed to guide reviewers in identifying strengths and areas for improvement in the increasing educator diversity plans that will be submitted. Next slide.
Question number 8 includes, will the CSDE monitor the increasing educator diversity plans? There is no legislative requirement that plans submitted in the spring of 2024 will be subject to ongoing monitoring. Nevertheless, the CSDE will explore next steps to advance the work of diversifying and sustaining the diversity of Connecticut's educator workforce. Question number 9, do we have to submit plans annually? There is no legislative requirement for yearly submission of plans. It is important to give you time to implement your increasing educator diversity plans, however. Number 10, will you provide a sample or model plan? CSDE and R2CC staff are working on more resources, including examples of a strong increasing educator diversity plan, and additional resources will be made available in the coming weeks.
Thank you to our presenters, and we wish to thank all of you for joining us this afternoon for this webinar. Again, if you have any questions that you think of, once we conclude, feel free to email us at the email listed on the slide. Thanks again, and have a good afternoon.